So I basically called Mum on a Friday morning. It was the 23rd of June 2004. It was a Friday morning, and I called Mum and I told her what was going on for me. And I said to her, I feel like I need to tell you, Mum, that you and Dad haven't done anything wrong. I love you. I love my life, and I'm so grateful for everything, but I'm really experiencing something in this journey in Islam. And it's actually quite beautiful. It's nothing like this horrific narrative that's basically been built over the last 100 odd years or so, and fed by extremist behaviors and all this kind of stuff. It's actually something really, really beautiful. And I just wish more people, Muslims and non-Muslims, understood and experienced what I was experiencing. Mum was amazing, because I was crying, of course, at the time, because I knew something massive was happening for me. And I also had the Quran open at that time, and I had it open to the second chapter of the Quran called the cow. In Arabic, it's called Surat al-Baqarah, chapter Surat al-Baqarah, the cow. And I had it open to a particular ayah or verse, 256. There is no compulsion in religion, but God has taught you what is right from wrong, and this is the greatest handhold. That's essentially the words. I'm paraphrasing it. That's what it says. There is no compulsion in this. There's no compulsion in religion. That's what it says. And so I felt like that verse was speaking to me, and it was saying to me, Jess, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it. You can go back home. It's all good. You don't have to embrace Islam. There's no compulsion in this. But it is the greatest handhold. So following a spiritual path is good. That's what it said to me, because I know it's good, because it feels good to me. It was always good. It was good when I did my catechumen. It was good when I was doing my, yoga classes and, Kundalini yoga and all that kind of stuff, just connecting into source. It's the best. Anyway, that's me. That's my kind of hippie journey. And that's what floats my boat, basically. Anyway, so there I am. The Quran is telling me you don't have to do this. My mum is saying, look, sweetheart, just dry your eyes, stop crying, and let me tell you something. Our journeys in life, particularly our spiritual journeys, are as unique as our thumbprints. She went like that to me. And so everybody's different, sweetheart, and everybody's unique in their own journeys. If you are getting something out of this, then I suggest you follow it. But do it properly, follow it, and trust in the process, sweetheart. Now, what an amazing mum, right? So I do come from an amazing family, a very liberal-minded family. If you go home and you look in our library, you're going to see everything from the Upanishads to the Kabbalah to, books on Sufism, books on the Christian mystics, the great, Christian saints, all that kind of stuff. You're going to see all of that. Books on Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Karen Armstrong, it's all there. So that's my background. That's what I come from. And with that endorsement from my mum, I felt that I could go forth. Had I not have got that from Mum, I don't think I would have done it. I understand how important family is. I understand all of that. And I'm just not sure that I would have gone forward. But hey, this is my journey and my life. And my journey meant that my mum gave me the thumbs up. So that's what I did. And a friend picked me up. And as we were driving to the mosque, I remember saying to them, oh, this is so weird. Blonde hair, blue-eyed Aussie girls don't do this. It's not normal. I just wish there was someone like me doing the same thing as me. And so I get to the mosque and I go to the women's section, take my shoes off, walk in, and I do 2 rak'ah. So rak'ah, spelled R-A-K-A, is basically the same as what you do in going into a Catholic church, where you genuflect, you go down on one knee and, you go in and, you pay your respects and what have you when you arrive into the church. So the same thing in Islam, you do 2 rak'ah, and that's the cycle where you do this and you prostrate, you put your head on the ground and you do that twice, and then you're ready. And it just shows your respect for walking into the mosque. And so I did that, and I sat there waiting for the Friday prayer, and I looked to my right, and there was a girl. I mean, you can't tell. I mean, your hair's covered. You cover your hair when you go into a mosque. So I look at this girl next to me, and she looked Anglo, just like me. And I looked at her and I said, Salam alaikum. And she said, Walaikum salam. She sounded distinctly Aussie, in a distinctly Aussie accent. Walaikum salam. And she looked at me and she said, are you Muslim? And I said, no, but I'm going to make my Shahada today. And then, of course, by that stage, we could hear our accents. And she's like, oh, are you from Australia? And I'm like, yeah, I am. So am I, she says. She says, hi, my name's Vic. My name's Victoria. And I remember she whacked me on the knee twice, like typical Australian. Good for you. I did it 2 weeks ago. As we say Islamically, subhanallah, are you serious? Like, oh my God. How amazing, right? Anyway, so at the end of the Friday prayer that day, Najma, that girl that I met first in the mosque, she helped me and she held my hands and there I was. And at that point, and I did it on a microphone, and the microphones were still open in the minarets. And the minarets are the little towers in a mosque where the call to prayer goes. And on Friday in this particular mosque, the khutbah is done through those through the minarets. And so I did my Shahada, and it was broadcast to all and sundry. So everybody inside the mosque and everybody outside the mosque could actually hear it. It was such an incredibly powerful moment, and I was bawling my eyes out. And I just remember so many people, so many women and kids. So a lot of kids are in the women's section as well, all coming up to me, holding my hands, and kids coming up and giving me cuddles. And I had so many beautiful women coming up saying, Mabruk, Mabruk, mashallah. And then I had this beautiful French lady. I don't know where she is. I don't even know what her name is, but it was a pretty uncontrollable moment. I was bawling my eyes out. It was like the energy was palpable. She came up and she held my hands, and she just looked me square in the eye, and she said, congratulations, my friend. Congratulations, sister. You've made a really good decision, and you will never regret this. She was just like, whoom, she grounded me. That was powerful. I don't know if she'll ever see this, but if you are watching, Jazakallah khair, may God reward you. That was a really important moment for me. She seemed to ground a moment where I was just like, woo. It was powerful. Anyway, so that's my conversion story. And that was 22 years ago. But for the most part of those 22 years, I've been in the closet spiritually because of that very reason that I talked about earlier, the judgments, the alienation. You feel like you become the social pariah. There's other things as well. I mean, I went on to become a broadcast journalist. I was working in television and radio, and I'm going to be quite frank, being a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aussie girl, doors fly open, and it's the truth. And I think, were I to come out or reveal myself, I would have cut myself off from all of those inherited privileges of all the different opportunities and all of the different jobs and blah, blah, blah. And that's hard. It's hard. And then, of course, there's the other aspect to it as well, because the Islam that has been promoted out, to the West is completely influenced by the Orientalist narrative. So the othering, the barbarian, the other. Belly dancers and, lecherous, Arabs and all this kind of stuff. That's what's being pumped out. And it's so unfair. It's just not true. It is simply not true. And so you've got this idea of Muslims being the other. And then, of course, you've got the other aspect as well that, there's lots of Muslims who have never really properly learnt, the true teachings of Islam as well. And when you're affected by politics and geopolitical and foreign policy decisions where so many people of your country have been killed, have been invaded, all that kind of stuff, it makes a massive impact. And, you can go back a good 100 years to 1915-16 to the Sykes-Picot Agreement. You could probably start there. You could go back further. But start there with the issues of othering and weave in, and you must, weave in geopolitics and foreign policy to get us to the point that we are at today. So I can tell you that the truth of Islam sits very lonely on a chair all by itself. And it is profoundly beautiful. It's profoundly intellectual. It takes a lot of passion and patience to dive into it. And it takes the capacity to step outside your culture. And I'm also talking about a lot of cultures, a lot of Muslim majority cultures where culture has assumed proprietary over Islam. So that's all there too. So there's a lot to navigate. Navigating all the cultural proprieties is as complex and problematic as navigating all the politics. Islam, as a great world belief and worldview, is profoundly beautiful. I can honestly say that. And I'm one of the lucky ones to have gone on that journey. stepping into that. And I know that what I've seen is what a lot of people have not seen, which still is the state of play today.